Come on.
Oh, thank you. That makes me feel a bit better. Actually, I was sat a little bit nervous, but I've become more and more excited listening to all the other speakers because they've lined me up perfectly for what I was about to talk about, especially the last slide. So thank you very much for that. That was extremely useful. I'd also like to thank GSMA for the invite all the way from the UK to come over. We've been doing a lot in Asia and China recently, so to get the invite is absolutely fantastic. Do we think the stage is big enough, or should we go slightly bigger next year, do we think? So I wanted to start with a bit of an introduction as to who we are and answer one question. So you're absolutely right. We are going to talk about how you market your products, but we're also going to talk about how we use virtual and augmented reality to market your service or product in whatever industry you are in. So we've talked a lot about what the future is going to hold for VR and AR, but actually how can we turn that into money right now? I also just wanted to start very quickly by talking to you about last year. As I said, we've just moved into China. We've got a partner now in Beijing, which is very exciting for us. Over the last year, we've also moved into Dubai, New York, Geneva, and South Africa. So extremely exciting. There's a lot of content being created in all these places, and that's extremely exciting for us, certainly. So 3D Redshift specialize in creating virtual and augmented reality marketing content. So this is to advertise services or products. Andrew mentioned education, property. These are things that we'll certainly go into and discuss in a video that I'll show you in a short while. One of the things that's particularly excited me about China is the two markets that have opened themselves up to us quite nicely in terms of the content creation. The first one is education, and it's as simple as that. It's about language education primarily as it stands, and it's about east to west, and it's about learning the different languages in the cultural environment. So we all know Rosetta Stone. You use it to kind of get your confidence up. We're applying that into a VR and AR setting so that you can have a personalized tutor. You can choose the best language tutor for you anywhere in the world. The content is pre-recorded, so you can enjoy that at any time and in any location. But it's also to give you the confidence so that when you're traveling internationally, if I've just started to learn Mandarin, for example, and I was flying over to Shanghai, I may not be that confident using that language for the first time. So if there is an application that I can watch and enjoy and engage with, that I can see how to order a taxi, I can pay for my food, I can organize my hotel, I can ask for directions, which I've been doing a fair bit since I got here. You can start to get those confidence levels up and really enjoy that. We've also been using VR and AR in a platform and method that we've been using historically, but actually VR and AR has really enhanced that, which is helping Asian and overseas businesses break into the European and UK markets. There's a big cultural difference. I watched a really enjoyable speech in one of the other hangars recently today, and this chap was talking. He was a Chinese guy, very, very well spoken. It was a very enjoyable presentation, and he was talking about the cultural differences and the reluctancy sometimes. There's certainly an opportunity for the Chinese market to move into Europe, but these businesses are slightly reluctant because of the cultural aspects. Now, by applying the VR and AR technology to what we do anyway, which is helping those businesses to overcome those cultural gaps and understand your business model, what you're hoping to achieve, but also by remaining at the forefront of technology, by utilizing VR and AR content within that market, we can really kind of break down those barriers and hopefully alleviate a lot of the fears. That's certainly something we've been doing a lot of over the last 12 months or so. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you a short video. There is Chinese subtitles as well, so hopefully they work. Don't worry, they didn't come from Google Translate, so hopefully they make sense. You guys can feel free to enjoy the video, and then I'll be back on shortly just to talk about a few more of the question and answers. We're making a long-term prediction that immersive virtual and augmented reality will become part of people's daily lives. Mark Zuckerberg. Now let's just assume for a moment that this is true, that virtual and augmented reality will become part of our customers' lives. How does that alter how we communicate, how we do business, and how we sell? My name's Phil Pelucha, and I'm the Commercial Director for 3D Redshift, and this is exactly what we specialize in. We help our clients internationally gain exposure from virtual and augmented reality. Now, the elephant in the room is simply this. How do I use virtual and augmented reality to sell my service or product? The answer is surprisingly simple: through experiences. More specifically, it's about leaving your customers with an experience that leaves them wanting more. E-commerce has changed the way that we do business forever. Many watching this video are representing businesses who are hugely successful because of e-commerce, or even only exist as a result of e-commerce. The next generation of e-commerce will not be browser-based. Imagine, if you will, that your company creates an incredible piece of 360 content. This video has captured your customers' interest like never before. They are submerged in your content and engaged with your brand. Then, a simple-to-use e-commerce store pops up from within the video, and, utilizing augmented reality, that customer can now buy, communicate, reserve, book, or further engage with your product from right there within that content. To understand what the future of marketing may look like, we first have to speculate what the future may look like. Where will our customers be? How do they like to do business? And how do they like to communicate? As a parent, isn't it strange to think that, considering how fast technology is moving, there are very few of us that can comprehend exactly what the world will look like for our children when they're our age? I have a 3-year-old who is so fast on her iPad that I'm almost certain she's using functionalities that I didn't even know existed, and she's 3. I'm extremely excited to see the developments that will take place over the next decade. Whilst we may not be able to say exactly what the future will look like, one thing is certain: virtual reality will play a key role moving forward. How we do business, how and where we work, and how we study. We already have online universities. How long before virtual reality universities are the norm, with students and professors from all over the world? Imagine a world where we no longer need to move to within commuting distance of our office, because our office will be our phone and our laptop. Our meetings and conferences will be held in virtual reality, and we will be in a position to recruit the best people from anywhere in the world, because the world will be our office. None of this sounds at all far-fetched or unlikely. In fact, in some capacity or another, all of these things are already happening. Our children will grow up the generation that will ask why you need to be in an office and why you need to go to a store to buy something. And the answer will be that you don't. Now that this is firmly in your mind and we're thinking about what the future may hold, allow me to tell you about 3 very different 3D Redshift examples that can demonstrate the power of VR and AR marketing today. First, there is a large automotive manufacturer whose Middle Eastern executives have asked us to create a VR and AR experience for their new sports car. The idea behind this is to provide an experience for the potential customer that they will never forget, to engage with that car, see themselves in that car, and to experience ownership of that vehicle. But for the client, this is also an important opportunity to upsell. This customer will have read online reviews, looked at pictures, and decided which car and which package they want to buy, paying particular attention to customer reviews. Why? Because they want to know if other people have had a good experience. There's that word again, experience. Now, sit the customer in that vehicle in virtual reality, and with the click of a button, you can change the interior to see the different options and packages. And that customer can now feel, see, and hear what owning that vehicle will be like. They are experiencing it. A game changer? Our client certainly thinks so. Second is with a large real estate developer and agent. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with how new builds typically operate, the developers will build several apartments or properties, decorate and finish them, and look to sell. The money from these sales will either fund the remainder of, or at least the bulk of the project. Profit is rarely seen until towards the end of that project. But can anyone see an issue here? Walking prospective clients through a building site isn't exactly a fantastic experience, even if the inside is stunning. So, we are set to create a virtual reality tour of the apartment and create an animated impression of the outside of the complex to show what it will look like once it's completed. thus providing the potential buyer with the best possible experience. Now, the benefits for this are endless. It's safer, as you aren't taking customers around an active building site. These tours can be done at any time, as it's pre-recorded, meaning real estate agencies are free to improve their working hours. Now imagine how much easier this would be for international investors. They no longer need to fly over just to view a property or simply look at an online brochure. They can sit in the comfort of their own home, in their favorite chair, and through the power of virtual reality, they can see a brand new apartment on the other side of the world as if they were there. Third, and finally, sports and tourism. Now, I love sports, and I've worked in football for many years. So the opportunity to assist clubs and associations of all sizes is a real joy for me. Be that through brand familiarity or engaging with their customer outreach programs, stadium tours, training, or even virtual reality streaming of live events for sold-out matches. Now imagine being able to buy your favorite team's jersey from right there within the headset whilst watching them train. To buy tickets for this weekend's game after watching your favorite player train, prepare, and condition themselves for the match. This is immersive advertising in a way that we have yet to experience. Tourism. If you're anything like me, you watch the videos, read the reviews, and check out all the local hotspots. Now instead, imagine experiencing that new city, location, or resort before booking. Not only being able to walk around a new city and see its wonders, but also to be able to engage with an augmented reality e-commerce store to purchase goods, boosting the local economy and helping small business owners. You could even pick your hotel and room from right there within the content and plan your journey, all without ever leaving the comfort of your own home or office. And it needn't cost the earth either. The truth is that virtual and augmented reality pays for itself extremely quickly. In 2016, the VR market was worth approximately $1.6 billion. Interestingly, Superdata Research recently said that by 2020, the VR market will be worth a staggering $38 billion. That's 20 times what it was in 2016. Combine that with Goldman Sachs claiming that by 2025, virtual reality is set to be an $85 billion a year industry, outpacing the TV market by way of revenue. The question that you should be asking is, can my business afford not to be utilizing virtual and augmented reality advertising? I can't answer that for you, but I'd like you to think about all of those businesses that didn't take advantage of the dot-com boom. How did that work out for them? Now, you may have had some marketing agencies telling you that virtual and augmented reality is either a gimmick or simply there to drive traffic. They haven't grasped its potential and will be left behind. May I remind you that radio, television, and the internet all had people who said, it won't work, it won't last, and it isn't right for my business. I'd like to end quickly by talking about a quote I recently heard from marketing guru Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary said that marketers ruin everything. They see where the audience are looking and where they're paying their attention and then advertise in that space. Now, I love this quote because it's painfully true, as is the fact that virtual reality is that space. Now, I implore you as a business to be advertising there. Please do not be the business that is left behind talking to the space where your customers want to work. Thank you. What do you think of the car? I'm trying to get it as part of the deal, but so far I'm not doing too well with those negotiations. I wanted to end very quickly by answering 4 of the most common questions I am asked several times a day whilst talking about VR and AR marketing. The first one is, do my customers have to wear a headset? Is the most obvious one that I get asked. And the answer is, at this stage, no. We are very much aimed at the mobile phone device. So your target audience is anybody with a smartphone. We're able to utilize content on YouTube. You can do this via different platforms, which leads me on to my second question. how can we use the content? Where do we store it? So it can either be browser-based, it can be stored on YouTube, we can store it on a separate app, or if you already have an existing app, we can build that content straight within there. Provided you have that mobile video capacity, we can utilize VR in 360. The final one I would mention would be cost. Now, everybody always wants to know cost, and the answer is it's not as expensive as I've alluded to in the video as you would imagine. Anything that you can do in video, you can do in VR better. Now, that's a slightly bold quote, I admit that. But when it comes to cost, I guess it depends on your business. So we always start with the end in mind. What is your business objective? There's no point creating an incredible piece of content and then trying to work out a marketing strategy as to how you can utilize that. It's better to work out, are you trying to do brand familiarity? Are you trying to break into a new culture? Are you trying to sell more of your product? And then reverse engineer that plan so that when we get to storyboarding and creating the content, we are creating a content that is fit for purpose. Now, where this relates to cost is that VR and 360 can either just be a really simple, beautiful piece of VR that looks stunning and represents your business. Or to take your business to the next level, you may well need an e-commerce store building an augmented reality that contains thousands of products. Clearly, the spec and the budget for those two projects are very different, but it's certainly nowhere near what you would expect. It's probably very similar, actually, to normal video content creation. So thank you very much for listening to me. I hope that was enjoyable. Any questions, obviously, shout out. I think you're all, there's a networking break now as well, so if anybody would like to grab me.
Yeah, networking break will be, unfortunately, after.
Oh, there you go.
Because we ran too long at lunch. So I have a few questions.
Sure, fire away.
So unfortunately, I shop, I go to the, I buy electronics. I'm the king of wearables. So in my depression, I go shopping.
Yes.
So now I feel I'm going to be even worse off because in my depression, I'll put my my Vive on or my Google on, and there goes the money.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably similar to when Amazon brought in the "you may also like" section.
Yes.
That made a lot of people very broke because we did always like. So yeah, I think that's probably a valid point. There has to be a level of personal restraint and responsibility.
No such thing. Let's see, there's no questions here. But let's talk 2 more seconds about what you're doing here in China and how you're engaging the China market.
Yeah, so as I said, the 2 main focuses for us within China at the moment are helping Chinese businesses break into the UK and European market, utilizing VR and AR, but also utilizing our marketing and advertising background to create a strategy that breaks down those cultures and moves you into those new markets. Certainly, there's a great opportunity to do that. And then the second piece is around education, which is that there's a huge market here for education to be learning new languages and to be immersed in that learning environment. And I think VR lends itself to that perfectly. So. Yeah,
actually, if you want to, Mark Zuckerberg came to China a year or so or 2 ago, and he was in Beijing and at Tsinghua, and he actually sat down and spoke Chinese to everybody, and asked how he did that, and I got the secret from his sisters. Every morning, his wife would go jogging, and he would have an online call with the coach.
Fantastic.
That's why his wife never knew that he spoke Chinese, and he speaks better than her. So that one-on-one conversation, interactive. Absolutely. AI comes in 100%. With learning. It definitely is something important. All right. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it coming all the way.
Thank you.